what he forgot.
Have all the emails have centralized it. Okay. I didn't understand that.
Make sure we're on.
Oh, so that's what they set up for the trailhead account. It's okay. Keep it. I want to separate.
काल पुरता जो था तो आप पत्ते की तुमने हाँ वापस
हेलो
एक मिनट तारा माइक्रोफोन में बात करना क्या नहीं कहीं अभी ऐसा एक खोई है
Hey everyone. Hello. Hey everyone. Can someone confirm is I am clearly audible?
yeah maybe you are audible
Okay, awesome. So we will just wait for a few more minutes and then we can get started.
Hey, hi Jitendra, have you joined?
Hey Tulya, I'm here.
All right, great. Good to see you. And I see that a lot of people also joined. So guys, we've got the Dallas Salesforce Saturday group also joining us. And we've got the whole Salesforce Saturday group sitting there. They're going to be having a look at the session. And we've got more people joining in. So again, let's wait for another couple of more minutes, like 5 more minutes, and more people join in, and then we can start with the session. Guys, I will request all of you to put yourself on mute.
Hello. Hi, is it Atul?
Yeah, hi guys. Hello. Is this Rakesh?
Yeah, hi Atul. How are you?
Hi Rakesh. I'm doing great. So Rakesh, we are just waiting for more people to join in, and then we'll be starting with the session. So I request all of you to put yourself on mute till we start the session, and then I'll kickstart the session, and then Jitendra will start with the technical session.
Okay.
Hi, my name is
Hey Ron, can you turn on your camera? Can we like see the whole group there in the room?
Okay, I think we're gonna try. This is Nava.
Yeah, I've actually met and I've seen most of the people that are regular to the Dallas Salesforce Saturday group. But yeah.
Hey, I'm trying to. We've got you on the main screen on like the TV, so I don't know how we could do the camera.
Right. So here you go. You can see me.
Yeah.
All right.
On this picture?
Yeah.
Huh? Now when he comes back in, it'll show up. No, I think I screwed it up. No. That's impossible. I think he came off the camera.
I think it went to share screen instead of, or was it? There we go.
There we go. Came back. How come there's no sound now?
Yeah, his eyes are moving.
So I see Amit's video there. I see, but and Nidaba, I don't see the Dallas Salesforce Saturday group video. Okay, the video is on, but yeah, there's nothing coming up here.
Yeah, so I'm not sure how to get that. You mean that on the camera?
Is it over here?
Yeah, so
Here, is this your daughter's camera right here?
I'll start
There you
video.
go. Yeah, try that.
Camera on the TV.
There you go.
Okay, now do you see the Dallas group now?
No, it's still all blacked out.
How about that now? It just needs time. It's got a long way to go. Yeah, this needs a moment now.
Right, it's just warming up. All right, so I think we've got enough people joined in. So Jitendra, if you can kickstart with the session.
Good job.
There we are. So Jitendra is with Cognizant now.
So Jitendra, I'm not able to identify you. Are you the one logged in with Amit Chaudhary's?
Okay, I guess so, yes.
Got it. Yes. So because your name is flashing as Amit Chaudhary there. All right.
Let me see if I can change.
Yeah, you can log out and you can change that and you can log back in.
Give me
hey,
one.
Ron. Yeah, no worries. No worries. We are here only. We're not going anywhere. Right. Ron, I think I see you. Yes. Nadaba, I see you and I see the whole group. Yes. Now we can see you.
All right.
Great. Hi, guys. How are you doing?
Hello.
Right. It's the same place where you hold all your sessions, right?
Yeah, same place.
Great. So yeah, Jitendra has logged out and he's going to log back in just a sec.
What time is it over there?
In India, it's 9:40, 9:38 p.m. to be exact. So today's Saturday, but yeah, I had to be in office. I had a pretty complex deployment to be taken care of for a client. But yeah, I just finished my work, ran back home as soon as I can to get hold of you guys, get this meeting started. All right, so we've got around 23 participants joined in. And yeah, so Jitendra, can we start the session? Can you share your screen and we can start with this?
Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see your screen. Yes.
Perfect. Give me a minute. Okay. Full mode. Awesome. So, hey everyone, thanks for the joining, and good afternoon, good morning, good evening as per your time zone. And we are here. I hope all of you already know the reason we are here, but I tweaked the title a little bit. So title for the presentation is actually the Salesforce Connect, and part of the Salesforce Connect, we would be discussing Cross Org Adaptor as well as Apex Adaptor. And this is again the part of the New Delhi Salesforce Developer Group. And I'm not sure if most of you already know, my name is Jitendra Zaa. I'm a senior technical architect from Blue Wolf, also known as IBM. I have around 20 Salesforce certifications, Salesforce MVP, 10 plus years of experience I have in Salesforce, a lot of other credentials. You can follow me at my Twitter. You can follow me on my blog. I'm always here to help if I can in any way. And I will start with thanking Atul. So thank you for inviting us, getting us together at the same time, and organizing this event.
For sure, for sure.
No problem. So if someone is not speaking, I would please request to mute your mic so that experience would be.
కాబట్టి మీకు ఫలానా ప్లేస్ తో మీకు వ్యవహారం చేయాలని చెప్పని ఉమ్మారు తీసుకెళ్ళి
Talking some of the considerations of Salesforce to Salesforce connection, and then we will discuss what exactly is a Salesforce Connect. We will have a demo basically. Most of the time will be spent on the demo. I'm showing what is Cross Org Adapter and how it works. And then we will start with some scenario. So like how to consume the REST service. And then I will start with the second demo, which is a custom adapter of the Salesforce and Q&A. So I hope everybody is excited. If anyone have any question, please hold till the end, and I will make sure that we will go through all the questions.
So Jitendra, just 1 second here. So guys, the suggestion here is to start posting your questions in the chat window here. And then Jitendra is going to go in and start answering your questions one by one that you have posted on the chat window. We are going to keep the two-way communication to a minimum. And it's just ask your question in the chat window. And he's going to keep on answering them at the end of the session. Sorry, Jitendra, go on.
Yeah, no, thanks for the clarification, Atul here. So let's start. There are some ways to connect Salesforce to say there are many ways basically, and depending on your situation scenario, you can come up with custom code. Like in 2012, if you ask me how the custom code was done, so you can go on my blog, and here I'm explaining right in early January 2012, saying okay, how do you integrate Salesforce to Salesforce with the code? And if you see here, it's around 72 lines Apex, around 42 lines here Visualforce, and it does not include your running Apex class or anything. So that is the way to integrate Salesforce to Salesforce, I will say, using Apex in 2012. If we talk about 2015, 3 years fast forward, I will say this is the way. Again, in 2015, I wrote an article that how can you have a Salesforce to Salesforce connection using named credential in just 5 lines. So this was the next version of my article, and if you can see, that's all you have to do. So by the time Salesforce has evolved, and you all know, even though we are a developer, technical architect, the best way to perform anything in Salesforce is first to give it a shot to out-of-the-box functionality. Sometimes it might be possible that what we are trying to do with the help of code, it's already exists there out of the box. So it's always preferable to go that way. Other option could be like if you have a sophisticated requirement, a lot of integration, data movement, you can use a ETL tool, and there are a lot of ETL tools in the market. Just to name a few, we have Informatica, we have Boomi, we have Mule software, so on. And a lot of other options which I may have not covered here. But let's say if we don't want to go at the code end, like I said, the best practice is always to have out of the box functionality. So for that, we have Salesforce to Salesforce connection. That's functionality. Most of you might already know what is the Salesforce to Salesforce connection. This is the out of the box functionality provided by Salesforce for a very long time. I mean, from I guess 2010 or 11, I remember that it exists there. So there are two portions or two parts of the Salesforce to Salesforce connection. Of course, there is going to be a source org, which will be publishing the objects and the record. And there will be the subscriber org, which would be having
10 rupees.
Excuse me, I guess someone is not in mute. Okay. And the subscriber org. The subscriber org, like the name suggests, it would be the destination org, and we would be whatever the record would be published from the Salesforce publisher org would be saved in the subscriber org. Again, this is a completely, I will say, till point. Most of the part I will say is out of the box. And if the requirement is pretty straightforward and simple, no code is required. But there are some scenarios where you need to write a code even in Salesforce to Salesforce connection. So first scenario is like if you want to move any record from the publisher org to the subscriber org, you have to click the button forward manually. If you want to automate that, you have to take on help of Apex class. If you want to handle the scenarios like what would happen if the record gets deleted in the sales or what happens if the record gets merged in the Salesforce org, then again, these kind of the scenarios would need a code. And let's see. The one thing to consider here in Salesforce to Salesforce connection is data is copied from destination org and which will contribute to the storage and it might contribute to the large data volume. So let's say your destination org already have like millions of record. Now using Salesforce to Salesforce, record is getting duplicated, physically saved in the destination org. And most of the time it is pretty fast. However, Salesforce doesn't provide any SLA that when the data will be moved from one org to another org. My experience is just like within a seconds, but I have also seen delays of days, depending on some problem or some issue going on the server. But again, there is no service level agreement on that side. And you can read more. I will be sharing this slide after this meeting, and you can go through all these hyperlinks which I have provided here to read more about what is Salesforce to Salesforce connection, how to go on. Now, today's topic is not a Salesforce to Salesforce connection. It's just to give you a highlight of what is available and what are some of the trade-offs. So we can see some of the trade-off is like you have to write a code, it might contribute to your large data volume, and you have to handle the merge situation, you have to handle the delete situation. So to overcome this, and there is a little bit a better solution. So let's ask a question to ourselves, okay? So as Salesforce to Salesforce saves the record in the Salesforce org, it will of course contribute to the storage and may lead to the large data volume. So think about what could be the other ways where I want to see the data from external org, but I don't want to save it. I just want to view it. So you can, if you know about the canvas, we can take on help of canvas. So it would be just like an iframe inside Salesforce, and the data would be displayed into the Salesforce org at the real time. The other option is like either you can use a Lightning component application or you can use a Visualforce page. But again, you have to do a lot of coding. You have to make an API call, get a response, pass the response, show it in the nice format, UI format, making sure that the user interface of the Lightning or the user interface of classic Salesforce matches with whatever the custom solution we have built. We could use an iframe, but there are a lot of securities these days around the iframe, like You cannot access the iframe to the parent windows and all. So communication would not be happening if you're using the iframe. And again, the new policies in iframe is like sometimes iframe restricts being a part of some website. You can use a web tab, but the thing we have to give a little bit thought about, is what could be the problem. So whenever we are talking about the custom solution, in my experience in the Salesforce, even though it looks pretty straightforward initially, oh, this is just a one class, one Visualforce page, but once you start implementing or once you start thinking about the designing, you will uncover a lot of, I will say, loopholes or open-ended questions, which you might need to handle. You spend most of your time on the user interface designing instead of the business itself. And the UI part might include like, okay, you have to show the response in the tabular format. You might have to do the searching or filtering on that data, whatever you have on the user interface. You have to write a logic for sorting. If you have done sorting in Visualforce, believe me, the sorting, date sorting is really painful. Date sorting, number, and all those string sorting. It's not really straightforward until you're using some out of the box functionality. And again, now we have a two flavors. So whenever we are talking about the Salesforce, we are always talking about the two flavors of Salesforce, the classic one and the lightning one. So it might be possible that your org is divided into the two user interface. Some users are still on the classic, or some functionalities are still in classic and some functionality are in the lightning. So you have to make sure the user interface which you're building should be the context aware. Otherwise your solution would look like out of the lead. No one would like that. Okay, in the lightning interface, we're using some old UI, nobody would like that. And these are just some examples of the custom solution. I'm not saying the custom solution is bad. Of course, there are situations where we cannot avoid it, but there are some situations where we have something out of the box. Let's talk about Salesforce Connect. So a few years back, I will say Salesforce Connect was also known as a Lightning Connect, if you remember. And it started with OData protocol version 2 support. At that time, it was only read-only. So you could only read a data from the external system. Over the time, it evolved and it started, I will say, improvement in the performance, improvement in the platform. They renamed Lightning Connect to Salesforce Connect now. And now it supports OData version 4. It supports Cross Org Adapter. It also supports custom adapter. So in this session today, we are going to cover the custom adapter and the Cross Org Adapter. The best part about the Salesforce Connect is record is not stored in Salesforce at all. So we will save some issues related to the space and the data volume. The best part again is a writable object. So if you make change in your destination org, that change will reflect in the source org as well, if that's the part of requirement. And the data are exposed as external object. So we know about there are objects. We have a standard object, we have a custom object. And on the standard object and the custom object, just like we can query, create a list view, we can perform the global search. So external object will get some of the functionality from the standard object and custom object. So let's see the demo of the Salesforce Connect and how it works. So just for the sake of simplicity, you can see the domain name. It says Jenkins destination. So this is my destination org. And let me close all these tabs. And this is the source org. So let's see what I want to sync here. So I have two objects. I have one object saying a startup funding, and I have another object named as a startup contact. So let me do one thing. Let me customize my tabs so that I will save some space here. I don't need forecast right now. No order, solution, I don't need. Perfect. So I have two objects right now in my source org. I have funding And if I go on the list view, there are some records here, like 947 records I can see. And then I go on startup contact, I see just few records, I guess, okay, none. So there is no record in the startup contact, so that's good. And we have around 900 records in the startup contact. Now, this is my source org. And I need to access this org, let's say, from another org. This is, let's say, the destination org. So let's see how we can do. So all you have to do is you have to search for external data source. I am already on the external data source tab. So I would be going on external data source. This page would appear, and all you have to do is click on the new external data source. Just 1 minute. I hope my screen is still visible to everyone.
Yes, Jitendra, go on.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. So let's have some name to the external data source. So I will give the name, my org name is actually Jenkins source. So I will give it Jenkins source. And now, like we discussed, there are a lot of options available. You can use OData 2 protocol. So a lot of the major players like Microsoft, they support OData protocol. There are a lot of tools available in the market, ETL tool, which would help you to convert your SOAP request or the REST request to the OData protocol. So let's say even if your application or external application does not have capability of OData protocol, you can certainly use some ETL tool or the middleware to convert it to the OData. So let's go and select the Salesforce Connect Cross Org. And just for everybody, if you see, there is no option available right now for adapter. So just remember this, and we will come back to later to this demo. So I'm going to use, that's my developer org. So that's the production URL. I'm not going to change anything here. And I'm saying that, okay, my external object would be writable. So if you hover your mouse here, it will give you the tooltip. This will help you. And it is saying which type of, so I'm saying, okay, let's have per user. So that's fine. I'm saying I need a password based authentication. Okay, let's say name potential. And so my user here is this one. That's my username. And let me write a password. So once we click on the save, it will try to validate it. Let's say. So everything went good. That means my username and password, which I have entered, is correct. So I would go a little bit slow again. This is my destination org. And I am trying to connect to the org, which is my developer org. This is my source org. And this source org has two objects, funding and the contact. So let's go here, click on validate and send. So what it will do is it will connect to the next org and it will get all the object. Now, if you think carefully, and again, I'm saying sky is limit. So think about, you might have got a situation or the requirement somewhere in the project. Hey, we want to query the Apex page, or we want to query the Apex class, or maybe the audit trail object. Salesforce do provide the SQL functionality to those objects, but Salesforce does not provide the UI. Think about it. You can connect to your own org if you have the Salesforce Connect license, and you can select like Apex log, you can select Apex page. No one is going to restrict you, and you would have a ready-made user interface. So just think about those scenarios. So all the objects which does not have the user interface in the Salesforce are still visible here. So that's really an awesome news and one of the best functionality, I will say. So let's search. We are talking about startup functionality. So startup. So you see, I have a two object here, startup funding, and I have a startup contact. So let's select these two objects here. Okay, and I will say valid. I will say sync. So now what it is going to do is it is going to query the Salesforce org, which is this org, and it will try to get all the metadata related to the startup funding and the startup contact object, and it will create an external object. Like we discussed, we have a standard object and the custom object, but if you're using a Salesforce Connect, any object which you select, those objects would become an external object. So let's see. So we have two objects, startup contact and the startup funding. If you click on the, let's start with the startup funding. So startup funding ends with __x. So just like custom objects ends with __c, it is ending for x, and these are all the fields which is in my next story. So let's see how we can use it. So what I will do is I will quickly create one app to make everything easier, and I will make that name as app. I will say dev demo. Just for the simplicity, I will not make any changes here. I need an account. I don't need chatter right now. I need okay, that's fine. I just have two objects right now, and let's make it visible to every profiles. Save it. Perfect. So now what we will do is we have two objects, but we cannot see those objects because tabs does not exist. So I will simply go and quickly create a tab here. So I will go create a tab. I will create a new custom object tab. So you see two objects are appearing here. So I will go start with funding and I will select some theme here. And I'm saying, okay, this app should be the part of only dev demo. I don't want to make overcrowded all other apps. That's fine. So I have a startup funding. Let's create one more tab. And that's the startup contact. Okay. I will again, it's part of this new app. It's always easier to manage to have your own app. So now I have my own app. I have a two tab. So let's roam around a little bit. So let's see startup funding. Now you have to think about that startup funding is not the part of the, is not physically present. Any operation which we are doing, it's a real time. So if I select, okay, give me all the records. Now you can see that this is fetched real time from here. So actual record exists in the Salesforce source org, not on the destination org. So what I will do is I will just change the view a little bit so that it will make a little bit more friendly. And I will say, I will say startup name I need amount, I will say city located and funding date. That's all. So now again, everything is on fly. And the best part is you have not done any coding on the user interface. Okay. So I click here and this is the funding, and the funding name, let's say, is Triton investment. So let's go here and search for Triton. Do we have, what is the name actually? Triton. Okay. Investment advisor, I guess. So you see the number FND002. I have the same FND002. And let's try to change the city to Nagpur. So this is my destination org. Record does not exist here, but I'm trying to save the value. Actual value right now here you see is a Mumbai. So let's try to save it. Let's go here and see. So two-way communication we just tested, bi-directional, real time, no coding yet. And we were able to integrate one Salesforce org to another Salesforce org just in few minutes. So let's dig a little bit more into it. One thing to observe here is, let's talk about the startup contact. We don't have any startup contact yet. I will create new. I will say startup contact name is Suyog. And let's save it. So this is funding. And the startup contact name is CEO. If I go back here and let's try to go on the startup contact tab, and let's try to refresh it. So I can see I just created a contact here on my source org custom object, and I click here, it's available here. So, but one problem here, if you think, is the startup contact, if I click here, it shows startup funding relationship, which is a 002. But if I go back here, I see startup funding populated as a 18-digit ID. So what should we do here? We want here as a lookup. So how do we do that? Very easy. Let's go on view fields. And so we are the part of startup contact. And let's here, startup funding. Let's change its type, startup funding. Right now, the startup funding type is text. All I can do is I will change its field type. Now, there are three types of the field. I'm pretty much sure you already know what is a lookup relationship. You already, and the external lookup relationship is one external object is referring to another external object. And that's what the case in our scenario. So we have two objects, startup funding and contact, both in the source org. Now we are in the destination org. For the destination org, both objects are the external objects. So we can select the external lookup relationship here. I will go here and I will simply say it is related to the startup funding and save it. What happened? Okay, let's try it next. I will say visible to all. Let's try next. I will just say save. And let's go back on the startup contact. Again, we are in the destination org. We'll go here. And now you see the relationship is here. And if you go on this record, even the startup contact would appear at the bottom. And again, we can just, it's a related list. And if we change it to the Lightning, again, it would be automatically converted as a Lightning user interface. You have not done anything here. So this is one. So let's now think about the possibilities here. So we have one object from the source org, let's say funding, and you want to create, let's say you want to relate it to the account in your org. So let's say in my org, destination org, I have accounts, and let's see how many all accounts I have. So let's say Salesforce. I'm pretty sure this Salesforce account is not there in this org. So if in this org I go and let's do the global search, in the source org, okay, Salesforce is here as well. So what I will do is I will create a new account just here. So let's create a new account and I will say account name as Saturday demo. Perfect. So now this is the account in the destination org, not in the source org, and you still want to relate the startup funding to the value of this org. So let's see how we can do. I can go here, I can create a new field, and this new field, I will create a lookup relationship to the, let's say, account. And let's go next, 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 and let's save it. Now I go back here, I reload this, and I see account field here, and let's try to select the Saturday demo, which we have just created now, and save it. Now, account is not here. So everybody is on the line. Would someone try to suggest why the account is not yet populated? Or is it the valid scenario? Can we do it? Any suggestion from anyone?
Actually, it is reading the data from the source org and we don't have any related account there. So that's why it is not populating.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, I will say you are near to that. So just think about what we are trying to do. We are trying to mix up the things. It's kind of the wrapper. So we are getting the data from source org, but on that data, we want to do something else which is specific to our org. Now the question is, can we do it? Can I get a data from source org and relate that data to my destination org? And an answer is yes. So if the answer is yes, then why it is not working here? And again, the answer is very simple. We have to create this field at least in the source org. Because to some extent you are right, we are just reading it on the fly. And now this field, account field, does not exist there. And that is the reason, even if you're trying to save, source org saying, okay, I don't have anything to this to save. Where should I save? I will just ignore it. And the source org right now here, they don't have any account field here. If I go on the start of funding here, sorry, it's a destination org. If I go here on start of funding, and let's try to have a field, there is no account name field here, if you see. And that is the reason it is not working. So just have a step back and think about what I said. Source org have some data. I want to manipulate that data to relate something in my destination org. Can we do it? Yes. But how? First we have to have that bucket. First we have to have that field in the source org, and then we will populate that field. So let's see how that can be done. So what I will do here in my object in destination org, I just created an account. So let's delete the account for time being. Okay, because it is not working. Now let's see how it will work. I will create a new field here. So can anybody suggest me, should I create a lookup field or should I create a text field on the source org? Anyone? Think about it. Lookup. See, if I create a lookup in the source org, and if I relate that lookup field in my destination org to the destination field, it will not work because that account is in destination org. Account is not in the this org, right? But we still want to save the data. So the correct answer would be text. Because if you create a lookup, both objects should be in the same org. We are saying no, half of the object is in the source org and some of the objects in the destination org. So text can contain anything. So we will go and the source org, we will create a text and we will name it account. And ID is 18th. So 18 length. So I will say, okay, length is 18. Let's go on next. And save it. So now we change the metadata of the source org. So what we have to do is we have to come to the destination org here. We have to go over data source, which is this. We have to again click on validate and sync. Now we have to be a little bit careful here. Whatever the changes we made previously would get overridden if you validate it. And if you remember, we changed in our SFDC contact. What we did in SFDC contact is, startup contact, is we changed to startup funding data type as external data. And I don't want to lose it. So what we will do, we will only select the startup funding here. We will not select the startup contact object. So I will go here, startup. So I have not made any metadata change in the startup contact. So that's fine. All I did is a startup funding. I will go here and I will sync it. Now the meta object. So if you remember, we deleted the account here from here. We created the account field on the startup funding, but then we deleted. So let's go back here on the view field. And now you can see account came back. Now this account is coming from the source org. So let's see what we can do now. So that's the startup funding object. I will close all the other tabs just to avoid the confusions here. So you see the account field. Now the problem, okay, let me reload it. This is the account. Okay. Now the problem here, okay, let me see. It's a text field, right? Now we have to make it the lookup. So it's a very easy. Again, we have to go to our startup funding. All we have to do is change the account field from text to lookup. That means the data would be actually in this org. I'm just going here. Okay. And start of funding is related to the account. I will select account, next. Equal to all. Save. Now let's try. So we are here. So reload it. Let's try to select the account Saturday demo. This all. Now you see it is being successfully saved. It is, if I move my cursor, the mini page layout is appearing. If I go back on my source org and let's try to open this, account is populated, but check here. This is the ID, and the reason is that this account does not exist in the source org. This account exists in the destination org. So this is just a small piece of demo. What I'm trying to convey here is like, you can connect to Salesforce org, and on that top of connection, you can write your extra logic, just like a wrappers. And that's how we are able to do it. So that's all for the demo of the Cross Org Adapter. Now think about it. How many lines of code have we written? Nothing. All out of the box functionality. So even though I said that we would be having Q&A at the last, but I think let's have the Q&A now for this section, because I would be moving to the new demo and new topic, and it would be easier to wrap up the Q&A here. So anyone, I'm open to question, any clarification needed here?
Jitendra, I see there are a couple of questions in the chat window. So if you can go through them.
Sure. So let me see how I can navigate to the chat. Okay, I see. So let's go question. So I have a question from Jitendra. What do you mean by saving the data on space if it's not stored in a Salesforce? Very good question. So Jitendra, what I'm trying to say is, in the Salesforce to Salesforce connection, what happens is, if you go here, system overview, you see it shows your data storage. So right now I have 5 MB storage. In your production org, you would be having in GBs. So in the Salesforce to Salesforce connection, data would be physically saved in this org. This is the destination org. Okay. Now, if we think about this Salesforce Connect, I don't see funding on contact here is contributing to my space. I see around 46 opportunities are there, 26 cases and so on, but it does not say anywhere that the startup funding has 900 record, because that is coming on live. So every time you click there, every time you click on the starting funding, internally, Salesforce is doing the REST API to the Salesforce org, getting the data and showing it to you. That's how it is working. So that's what I meant when I say that space is not utilized in this org. And again, if you think about, even though we have created an account field here, okay, this account field actually also exists in the source org, which is a text field. So all we just did here is changing their type to the lookup, but data is still in the source org. Was I able to answer correctly? That was your question, Jitendra?
Yes, Jitendra, thank you. I think just like I think maybe we can correct in this way that it will not consume the space in which we are like retrieving the data, but it will not, like we can't say that, like it was confusing that it is saving the data on space rather than like not in Salesforce. So that line was confusing. Okay. So I think better if we have written that in this way, that it won't consume the space in the destination or like where we are consuming the data. So it will not like consume the limits, data storage limits.
Get it? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So my message is exactly the same. Okay, I will change that line. So basically, what we are saying is destination or would not have any usage here, no space used, because everything is just fetched on real time.
Sure. Thanks, Jitendra. Thanks for clarifying.
So the next question I see is, should we also make the account ID text external ID? Very good question here. So not necessarily you need to create the external ID here, okay, because normal text will also work until you want to search it or improve the SQL performance. But to this scenario, we don't really need to make that text field as external ID. It will simply work fine.
Yeah, hi Jitendra. Yeah, my question is related to this scenario, not specific to this scenario, but business kind of logic. Like, why we need two orgs or two different orgs, and we can connect it very easily, and that Salesforce is giving us a very good option, very less effort we have to put in. But why a single organization needs two or more than two orgs?
Very good question. Okay, so here's the scenario. Okay. I have worked on many projects which have a multi-org, not two org. I will say 7 to 8 orgs, and I will tell you how. So let's take an example of healthcare industry. Okay, now insurance industry basically. So let's say there is one insurance company XYZ. They have insurance in India. They have insurance business in US, and let's say they have insurance business in UK. If we go with the same org, let's assume that we go with the same org. Okay. So people from India is also logging, people from US is also logging to that org, and people from the UK is also logging to that log. Now the problem is regulations are completely different. Okay, India government says, okay, all the insurance industries should give XYZ percentage, or this should be the subsidiary. Okay, now US would say, okay, we want to make sure this person X should not be able to see the records of the person Y, and so on. And the UK would be having some different scenario saying that, okay, this is XYZ program, and the prescription in that program, before doctor would suggest to any other insurance company, we have to do the risk management analysis. So I'm just trying to give the scenario here that every country here in this scenario has a completely different requirement. Now, the problem with the same org would be Salesforce has a governor limits everywhere. The governor limits on how many lines of Apex you can write, governor limits on how many fields you can have, how many objects you can have. And let's say if you don't have a governor limit, you're not hitting a governor limit there. If your org is having a lot of Apex classes, Visual Force pages, it will contribute to the governor limits like concurrent Apex limit error, API limit hit error, and so on. Your solution of same org would not be scalable because you have a different requirement for India, you have different requirement from US, and you have different requirement for the UK. And that are the scenarios where you need a multiple orgs. And then if some senior representative or senior, let's say CEO or vice president wants to see record from every org, they need to have an external solution like BI tool, something external BI tool, which will get the record from all the org, combine that record and produce the result. I mean, I'm just giving you one kind of the solution of the scenario. There could be multiple, but this is a scenario basically where we have to go to the multiple orgs instead of one org. Did I answer that question?
Yeah, perfectly. Thanks a lot, Jitendra.
See, the thing about the scalability, okay, everything can be done in Salesforce, but do you think that would be like scalable? Today, 100 people are there. Do you think 10,000 users would be logging to their system? They would not be having any problem. You would hit the limit on objects, tabs, everywhere. So that is the reason we have to have those orgs. Okay. So let's see that. Yeah, no problem. So how do you handle the custom criteria based sharing from Rakesh? Is it possible to create account on source? Do we need admin profile for user in source? Really very good question, Rakesh, and we really need to invest. I really need to investigate on that side. I really don't have that much knowledge, but I do know that if you go on the sharing setting, okay. So let me see, funding is available or not. I don't think. I need to check on that one. Okay, I will do a little bit of research and I will post you on that side. That's a good question.
I have one more question. Like when we are sharing the records, so let's suppose if we have some kind of restriction on certain field on the source org, then does it respect the same kind of field level security? Or...
No. So it depends. So really good question here. Okay. Sorry to cut you. That was your question. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So if we go on external data source, right? External. So in the external data source, if you see how I did is identity type was the named principal. Okay. Now there is another way of identity type. Okay. And that is a OAuth based. And everybody, okay, everybody have to give the username and password. So it depends on which username password you are connecting to the Salesforce org. Now, right now I connected with the system admin access to the source org, and that is the reason I was able to get everything. But if I don't have that requirement, everybody should be able to see some. So I think this is the scenario where you have to have an OAuth, okay? And you have to make sure that which user you are trying to connect to the external org. Because the best part about the Salesforce is security is at the, I will say, not at the presentation layer, security is at the API level. So either you access any org from the user interface, from the API, you will have the same security. But to the question, can we create a sharing rule? I need to check on that. I don't think you can create a sharing rule, but I will confirm again after this call.
And Jitendra, is it possible, like right now we are only sharing the straight data from one org to another? Let's suppose if I need to share conditional based data.
Conditional based data.
Yeah, because when we use Salesforce to Salesforce, we do the same thing. Okay?
Exactly. Yeah.
And even we can define the kind of rights we can give it to particular field. And using Flow, we can also set up some kind of a custom-based condition so that only those set of data can be shared to the destination org. Can we do that thing here as well?
So that's really a good question. Okay, so I will say you cannot do directly that level. Like I said, Salesforce to Salesforce is a completely different tool. There are some scenarios which I explained where this solution will work. Okay, but if we have stringent requirement like sharing or something, then I think this solution will not work.
Yeah, because I'm sorry to cut you in between, but I'm like initially I thought that even if we are using Salesforce to Salesforce, we have to go into the coding route in order to share the custom-based condition. But after certain research and all, I found out that with Flow we can do all these things. So that's the reason I thought that if it is possible through this way as well or not.
Exactly. So you can write SQL pretty much here as well, right? One way is like to hide the tabs on the startup funding and the contact. Okay, but again, you will need a Visual Force page or some kind of the coding here as well. Okay, that okay, just write an SQL and just do not show those records. But I think the sharing and the security is your main concern. Then I have to do a little bit research. I don't think this would be the right solution in that scenario.
Okay, that's fine.
So, yeah, it's simply the REST API.
Okay.
REST API to the source system.
Understand. Thanks.
So the question is, apart from the username and password, what are other authentication method? We have OAuth. So either you can use username password authentication, or you can go with the OAuth for Salesforce to Salesforce connection. Now the next question. So Manan, is that answer your question? Okay, I will go to the next question. That's SZ. Can you connect multiple orgs and view same type of record in one destination? Example, all users record from 5 or 6 different orgs completely. Yeah. So in that case, you would need a license. Right now, you can only have one external data source. For all those orgs, you need in different external data sources. If I try to create now, it will give me an error saying the developer org will only have the one license available. So you would have to purchase those. So basically how the Salesforce Connect works is like, you will have one URL, one source URL, and that one source URL can have a multiple objects. Now in this scenario, as that you're talking about 5 to 6 different org, indirectly you're talking about 5 to 6 different connections. So answer is yes, but you need to have the licenses for that. So apart from the username and password, so that's the question again from Manan. So Manan is saying, what is the difference between OAuth and the username and the password? Well, there are a lot of different, I will say, between the OAuth and the Salesforce username and password flow. Okay, so if you provide your username and password, this org would have a complete access on the another org, whatever the information is exposed by your username and password. But if you use an OAuth, in OAuth, if you just think about the Facebook, if you try to validate something on Facebook, if you try to connect, let's say, some game to the Facebook, and it will ask you, this game will require your email information or ability to post on your wall or ability to see your friends. Indirectly, what are connected apps or the OAuth will give you the extra layer of security. So saying that, okay, this app, can it see the whole data? Can it see the partial data? Can it see the chatter data? Those kind of the security. So OAuth 2 would always be the preferable. Now OAuth 2 also have a multiple flows, like 6 to 7 flows. So last time I saw it, it was 7 flow. So it has a username, it also have a username and password flow. Or you have a web server flow, you have JWT flow. You can go on the official Salesforce website and you can read more on the OAuth functionality. If you need to have a hands-on on OAuth, I have a blog posted. Let me go here. And I have a Node.js application. You can simply copy that code and you can learn more about OAuth flows. And I have a YouTube video as well. So what is a JWT flow? So, and there is a web server flow, user agent flow. So these are all the OAuth, and you can just go here, you can read if you want to implement it. But if you want to digest the concept, I would suggest you need to go to the developer forum or the documentation site. Good questions. Did I miss anyone?
Hey, I have one question. So what if we have deleted the data source on in a destination, or sorry, in a source, or then what will be the data happens? Let's say we have created one startup funding record in destination, so only that record will be there, or all of the rest of the records will be also available in destination org?
So you have to think about, right? If something is present in the source org, then only it will be present in the destination org. Like I said, destination org does not use any storage. Everything is on fly. So let's take an example. Okay, this funding 002. I am on source org. Let's say I delete this 002. I go back again 002. Let's try to reload it. It's gone. So destination org does not save anything. It is just the view only mode. Even though you can.
Sorry to interrupt. My question, let's say if we have deleted the connection between them, I mean delete the data source.
Okay.
And then whatever let's say we have created one record in destination, so that the only single record will be there, or whatever we have in a source that will be there, or maybe the disconnect.
Yeah, I know where it is coming. So in Salesforce to Salesforce or Salesforce to Salesforce connection, what happens is once somehow even accidentally you disconnect it. Okay, so data still stays in the destination org and the Salesforce org. Okay, but the Salesforce Connect is completely different. Even if you delete the connection, nothing stays in the destination org, even that one record. So let's take an example. I am in destination org and I am creating a new funding. Okay, and I'm saying, let's say account is 80,000. Just giving you an example, and startup name, let's say Rudra Corp. Okay, and I'm saving it. So it is saved. Okay, 95959. Now I'm going on the Salesforce org, and it just got created in the source org. So like I said, nothing exists in the destination at all. So even if you delete the connection in the destination org, record still exists in the source org. This is the source org. Did I answer the question?
Yes, I got the concept. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, nothing is in the, and that is the one of the advantage of the Salesforce Connect. You will save on space. No space is used in the destination org. No storage is used. Okay. So let's see. Does the restriction IP address validates the destination org to connect to? Very good question. Okay. So if you have a strict IP restriction, of course you will get an error. Okay, it doesn't matter because internally Salesforce is using an API. If you have blocked the Salesforce API itself to connect to each other, I think that would be the problem. I have 4 orgs. Do I need 3 different data sources for? So each org will need to have a different data source. Yes, every org will have a different. Ajay Kumar. Okay. Object metadata still will be available in the destination org, right? Even though you delete the connection, no. You cannot delete the connection. So let's try here. Very good question. Okay. So I am on the destination org and let's try to delete the connection itself. Okay. So I will go external data sources. If I try to delete it, see what happens. It is saying 2 external objects still exist. So first I have to delete these and then I can delete the connection. Okay. Can I pull cases from org to? Yes, you can. So question from, can we report on the data in the destination org? I think certainly you should be, because you are able to create the list view and everything. Just cross check again. I will go on the reports. I will create a new report and I will search. Oh, no. Good question. Let's see if we have any sitting here. External objects. And these are the, let's say, start a contact. So here, of course, you can do it. So there is a reporting checkbox here. It says allow reporting. I am on start a contact. Let's save it. I say reports allowed. Now let's reload this. And yep, we can do reporting. Yeah, if you can do the list view, you can even do the global search here. Global search will also work on the external object. Awesome. So I think every question has been answered. One takeaway for me is to check on the manual sharing or sharing rule. I'm pretty sure that is not possible, but I will do the cross check if there is some workaround around that. Anyone, any other question here? Okay, thank you everyone. Those all are great questions. Good for me as well. So let's go on the next. I think I get one. Do audit trails show in destination org? Very good question. Okay, like I said, nothing saved in the destination org. So even the audit trail would be available, but those audit trail would be on the source org. So that was the question from Rahul. Okay, awesome. We still have a time. And let's go on my favorite part, coding part. So we saw the Salesforce Connect, how the Cross Org Adapter works without a single line of code. But again, I assume most of us here are developer. So let's go on a little bit development stuff. And that is nothing but the Cross Org Adapter. So we covered this. Good. So the question to everybody, you have a REST API. Okay. How do we consume REST API in Salesforce? So let's consider this example. So this is the API of healthcare industry, and this is a healthcare blog basically, and they expose all the blog in English and the Spanish language. Okay. And they have a JSON attribute like category, title, the language is Spanish. Okay. What is the layout, excerpt, what is the URL content, and so on. Now you want to consume this inside Salesforce. Think about it from the developer point of view. What you will do? You write an Apex class. Using Apex class, you will do the HTTP request. You get the response, and you render that response either on Visualforce page or the Lightning component. So that's all. And again, don't forget, you have to write the discovery as well. And then you also have to make sure if your org is on the user interface, on classic interface, and your org is also on the Lightning interface, you have to make sure that the UIs are matching there. Context aware. But what if I tell you, you don't have to write a Visualforce page or the Lightning component. All you have to write is an Apex. So pagination, sorting, everything would be handled inside Salesforce with a little bit code. So let's see the demo. So I will close everything. So, okay, one thing here, everybody. Like I told you last time, okay, it got me a little bit confused also when first time I tried this. If I go on external data source and if I try to click on the new data source, you see the type here. It gives me OData 2, 4, Cross Org. It is not giving me an option to create an Apex adapter here. Okay, and I really got confused initially when I tried a little bit hands-on here. And let's see why that happened. So I am on my source org. And this time I'm going to use my source org. Let me open the developer console here. So the reason it is not appearing is, it was appearing on the destination org is you have to write Apex classes. So first you have to write a class which extends data source dot connection. So this is, I guess, abstract class. So once you extend this, you have to override few methods. So the first method you have to override is a search method. And this below method is invoked if the global search or the SOSL is used. The second method you have to override is a sync method. Now, as the name suggests, remember we were on the external object, we click on the validate and the sync and it went all the metadata. So indirectly, this will give you the metadata information. So see here. So this is the REST API I need to consume. Now, if you see this REST API has a lot of components. It has like publish, title, language, not necessarily I need everything. What I will do is, I would only get a title. I will get SEO keyword, search engine optimization. I will get this one. I will get title and I will get excerpt and content. So excerpt is here, content is here. I will get language and the language is here in Spanish or English. Now, we have to make sure that two columns are mandatory column, which is the external ID column and the display URL. Their name should be exactly like this. So all the constants I have defined here at the top, those are the final. So these two columns, which is a display URL and the external ID column, this must be displayed. Otherwise, you would get a different kind of errors here. So that's the sync method for you. Let me go back. Sorry here. Sync method for you. Okay. Now, what will happen if we want to see the record, if you want to do the SQL query, or we want to report it. So for that, so this is a little bit code I got a little bit from the, I will say, Salesforce official website. So one thing to observe is like, I am calling a method, which is a getRows method. Now, if you go on the getRows method, it is a very simple, and most of you might already know about it. It will make HTTP request, and it will make a HTTP request to this external source URL, which is nothing but HTTPS healthcare, exactly this URL. Now, the best part is we don't need any authentication here. It's an anonymous call. So what I'm doing is I'm simply getting the response. Once I get a response, I'm using a JSON APIs from the Salesforce, and I'm extracting title, SEO keyword, excerpt, content, language. Blog link is already there, but if you observe, the blog link here starts with /es. So what I'm doing is I'm appending the base URL, and base URL is nothing but https healthcare.gov. And then I need to give the external ID as well, because that's the most important. So we got the display URL. Now, how do we get the external ID? So all I'm doing is in this, so there is no external ID, of course, here. I have to derive some external ID. So what I did is I use the URL itself, because every website have the unique URL, and I replace / by underscore just to avoid any problem here. So I did that. I took the blog link and replace all the / by the underscore, and that's it. And I'm returning the result. So once I got the result, so result is here. Now we can do a lot of things on the result. How do we do the filtering? I mean, how do we search? Okay, give me all the English blog. Give me all the Spanish blog. How do we sort? How we do the pagination? So suggested way and the best practice is always to have pagination, searching, okay, and sorting at the external web service level. So that means this API should give you something like page equals to 5, sort by this field, something, but unfortunately, this is a very simple UI, simple web service. It is not giving me any information. So for those scenarios, Salesforce has a class named as a data source.queryutils. All you have to do is you have to just call them and Salesforce internally will take care of those parts. Like I said, okay, with little code. Pagination, sorting, handled by Salesforce with little code, and that's the code. All you have to use is data source of data source.queryutil, filter, sort, and apply limit. That's it. And this class is pretty much done. Now, this class is actually doing all the magic. This class will call the REST API. It will create a tabular format. So here I'm saying that in the sync method, saying that, okay, table name is a healthcare blog. And this table will have these columns. Now, this is one external object. There could be multiple external objects. So for each external object, you might have to have this. Now the question is, how do the Salesforce will know? Because if you remember here, Salesforce have always two parts, data, external data source part. So let me go here. So Salesforce has always two parts, external data source and external object. What our class, Apex class just did is define the external object, and it said that this external object name is healthcare blog, just here. And how do you get the value in this object is doing the query, and that's it. Now the question is, how do we inform Salesforce about what is external data source? So for that, you have to create a new class, and that class should extend database.provider. And what exactly this class will tell you is that what are the capabilities. So again, this is the abstract method. We have to override it. And I'm saying, okay, the capabilities are, you can do the query and you can search it. Now, there is no capability to create, no capability to update or delete. So I have commented that. And all you have to do is in the get connection method, you have to call back this Apex. Okay. So let's go back and let's try to create our external data source. Oh, I see I already have external data source. Let's delete it. Let's try to create a new. And I'm saying healthcare blog. Type, now you see this option is appearing. And the reason it is appearing is, if this option is appearing, that means your classes and everything is right. Other, if you don't have any provider class, it will not appear because we are writing a custom Apex adapter. And it's anonymous. I will not say anything here. I will go on validate and sync. It has only one external object. It is appearing. So that's the good news. I will sync it. So the external object is ready. Name of the external object is healthcare blog. And we will simply create a tab for it. So let's go and create a tab. So this is here. So think about it. I'm clicking on go. So again, concept is still same. Nothing exists here. This is the destination org. Everything would be on the real-time REST API. So I click on go. Salesforce is using my Apex class. It got around 25 records. We click on somewhere here. Again, you can create a list view. You can search, sort, and these are all the information. Now, if you see, this is English blog. That's good. And where is URL? So I see the URL field is not here. I can go and edit page layout just like any Salesforce object. And I can say this is the display URL. Save it. And I just go back here. And this is exactly the website. It has information about the healthcare. If I go back on healthcare blog again, I can do the list view. So I can say, okay, give me all, let's say, English blogs. And all I have to do is in language should be equals to English. Now you can see only English blog will come. Let's edit it and make it Spanish. And if you observe here, let's click one of here. Let's click the display URL here. And you see that's the Spanish blog. So think about it. What we just did, we did the REST API call, but we didn't create the user interface. We didn't write a logic for sorting, searching, pagination. Most important is pagination. If you see here, if I go back here, and it's like 25 pages. If I go back on next, the next 25 pages will be coming. So that's all, guys, from today's session. I'm again open to the questions. So I see some questions popping up and I will go through one by one. What about call out time in case of an anonymous call? So in this scenario, if your web services are taking a lot of time, you will get a timeout error for sure. So what if there is authentication required? Do we have to handle the authentication in the code? Very good question. I will say yes. You will need to handle the authentication in code with the help of named credential. So if you go on, I mean, of course you can have any custom logic as well, but as per the best practice, you should always have a name credential. And here you can provide that what is the identity type, okay. The name credential is a pretty powerful feature and it will really solve a lot of problem. But to answer to your question, yes. Authentication is required, then you have to handle it in your code. Anyone, any other question?
Yeah, hi Jitendra. In this case, we import all those records from healthcare blog tab. So can we use in these records in relation with other records like a lookup if we have to give the reference of these records into some other records?
I think that would be the problem, like we discussed, right? This first problem is this healthcare blog is not a writable. It's a completely read-only blog, okay? So any field which you try to create on top of it, that has to be on the external system. Unfortunately, in this case, no. You cannot do anything here.
In case of child or in case of parent, anything? Is there any chances?
Yeah, I mean, if child object exists into the Salesforce, then yes, you can do it. Okay, so let's try that. Okay, very good question. So what I will do is I will create a new object. So this is my destination org. Okay, and let me create a new object here, and I will say, just sake of blog demo, sake of simplicity, blog demo. Okay. And I'm not actually, I don't want to create external object. I want to create, I went on the wrong one. And so we are in the blog demo. Now let's see what we want to do. Okay, so let's take an example. This is the record. Okay, randomly I'm taking some record, and I want to relate. I want to have a child record here, and that's, we have a blog demo here. What I will do is I will create a new field. Okay, and if you see, create a relationship that links to the object to the external. So I would use the external lookup relationship. I will say healthcare blog, link it to the healthcare blog. And just an example, I will say 200 or something. Maximum length, okay, let me have 50. I will say blog length. Perfect. Okay. So I'm on healthcare blog record. I'm opening one record here. Even though we cannot do anything here, but this blog demo actually exists in our org. So we can of course create a relationship here. Okay, and we can say this is demo one. Save it. So now we can do it. So now this record is kind of the lookup, not exactly the lookup relationship, but external lookup relationship. And if you click here, it will open you that record. So here we cannot do anything because it's a read only, but you can do a lot of combinations on any object which is in your org.
Okay, thanks a lot, Jitendra.
No problem. So can we use a continuation method if the callout time is long? Make it, I afraid Ajay, no, we cannot use a continuation object here because for the continuation, you need a Visualforce page and this Apex class is not related to the Visualforce page anyways. Any other question, anyone? So a question from Ajay was, if we are getting a callout error, or the timeout error, can we use a continuation object or continuation method? So that is a one very nice concept in Salesforce where you can make a call out asynchronously and wait for its result, but that is only supported by Visualforce page. There is a one workaround if you want to in the Lightning component, but again, that Lightning component has to use a Visualforce page as a proxy. But in our case, there is no question of the Visualforce page, so I'm afraid we cannot use continuation object or method in this scenario. Anyone, any other question? So this last demo which we just did now, the complete source code available on my blog. I just recently wrote this blog like 1 or 2 days back, implementing custom Apex adapter, and it's completely here. All the source code is, you can just go copy paste here and play around it. Okay, so I think that's all for today. So if you guys have any other question, you can follow me on my Twitter. I also have a YouTube channel. You can subscribe there and you can ask question on my blogs as well. Thank you everyone for giving your time. Atul, anything you have to share?
Thank you, Jitendra. Thank you very much. Thank you for taking out your valuable time on a Saturday. And yes, it is definitely always difficult devoting your weekend. But yeah, Salesforce Saturday has definitely become a phenomenon. I see a lot of people Monday to Friday, you're doing your job, you're working on projects, slugging your way. But yeah, Saturday is the time where you come out and as we can see with the Dallas Salesforce Saturday group, I see a lot of people there. And these guys have been meeting pretty regularly, and these guys have got these awesome challenges with the Amsterdam group as well. So you can check out all about how Dallas and Amsterdam are competing with each other for Trailhead badges. They're calling it #Trailhead Challenge. So do check it out on Twitter, and it's a really awesome challenge and how these guys are doing these Trailhead badges. So yeah, so thank you Jitendra for taking up this session. This was really informative, and I hope, and I'm pretty sure that everyone would have got a lot of information, useful information. And yeah, this Saturday they learned something new, and that is what our goal is. Every Saturday, learn something new, because Salesforce, whoa, it's expanding like anything. It has come to a place where it's like drinking from a fire hose. So yeah, there's not enough time to learn all the stuff, but yeah, the more we can, the better. So yeah, and Ron, Nadaba, and Dallas Salesforce Saturday, would you like to share something here before wrapping up this session?
Thank you so much for the Dallas group. I will go on, certainly I will check on the Twitter challenge.
Right. All right, guys. Yes. So I think that's it from our end. And yeah, so I think in another 1 hour, the video will be ready. I'll be going up and uploading it to YouTube. I don't think I'll be needing a lot of edits to this. So I'll just go directly and upload it on YouTube, and I'll go ahead and share the video with everyone on the meetup.com group. You can find the video in the comment section. I'll also be sharing it on Twitter. And hopefully the Salesforce Saturday website, the official website that we're working on, it's going to be up and running soon. It's been a lot of work, but yeah, we are trying to get it up, and yeah, and we'll have all these videos and all the sessions also up there. So thank you for joining in, guys. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Jitendra. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right. See ya. Bye.